This is a page from a gaming magazine called Game Now, issue number 6, April 2002. And back then, this particular page has caused a lot of anger and frustration among the Metal Gear fans. Gaming forums exploded. Discussions has erupted back then about this particular page and the announcement within it, generating a lot of backlash, especially against Konami and Hideo Kojima. But why? What could possibly make fans this furious? Well, before we talk about this magazine page, we need to go back a little further. A little history lesson on what led to this massive backlash. Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty is one of the most iconic video games in the history, not just for its gameplay and storytelling, but also for its controversy. Released on November 2001, the game did something almost unheard of at the time. It tricked players into believing they would spend the entire game as Solid Snake. But instead, we were suddenly introduced to a new protagonist, Raiden. Up until launch, every trailer and every piece of promotional material made it seem like Solid Snake was the main character. The hype for the game was immense. Every time a new trailer comes in, fans get excited even more. This made the pre-orders and the PlayStation 2 sales skyrocket. It has been even reported that the game has accumulated over 2 million pre-orders prior to the launch worldwide. That's 2 million fans and gamers who were eager to continue their journey with Snake after the events of Shadow Moses in Metal Gear Solid 1. But instead, they got this. It wasn't until players finished the tanker chapter and stepped into the big shell that the baited switch was revealed. And oh boy, fans were not happy. The backlash was real. Players felt misled. Some were furious. Hell, I was one of those people back then. This was an era before social media as we know it today. But back then, gaming forums of the early 2000s lit up with complaints. And what makes fans even way more angry is that Raiden was revealed only after the player had already committed to buying and playing the game. It wasn't just about Raiden replacing Snake, it was about being tricked into buying the game first, only to find you're not playing with Solid Snake all the time. Raiden's identity was even hidden from the game's cover. That's how much Kojima wanted to hide Raiden's existence prior to the launch of the game. Fans were so furious and angry to the point that many refused to accept that they could not play as their favorite protagonist, Solid Snake. They thought there was some kind of a trick that Kojima has hidden in the game that allowed them to play as Solid Snake in the planned chapter. Similar to like what Resident Evil 2 done with the two scenario concept, like Leon's scenario and Claire's scenario. People hoped there might be a Solid Snake scenario in the planned chapter. And that in itself led to a massive surge of rumors and speculations about a secret way to unlock Snake in the planned chapter. Some of these rumors that I remember back was that you need to beat the game with Big Boss rank achieved, or collect all the dog tags across every difficulty. There were other wild ones like entering the Konami code at the score screen.
What do you think you're doing?
Naming your dog tag, let me play as Snake, and then finishing the game with Big Boss rank. Defeating all Tengu soldiers in Arsenal gear as Snake without Raiden interfering. Playing the game on a specific date that matches your dog tag and the PlayStation 2 clock. Going into the bathroom at the plant and start chanting Snake, Snake, where are you? Using the PlayStation 2 microphone. And the list goes on. My point is, people were so upset that they could not play as Snake in the planned chapter. And they were desperate to find a way to play as Snake, so much to the point they were sold out of the idea and convinced that Kojima had hidden some secret unlock method. And of course, there was no such thing. You cannot play as Solid Snake during the planned chapter. And that left fans angry and frustrated. And then, in April 2002, Game Now magazine issue number 6 dropped this article about an announcement for a game called Metal Gear Solid X. This article claimed that an updated version of Metal Gear Solid 2 would let players to do what they have been demanding since launch: play as Solid Snake for the entire game. The article teased new gameplay elements, like previously inaccessible areas now being opened for Snake to explore, like Shell 2, and what seems to be a boss fight with Revolver Ocelot in the helipad of Strut E. You can also see Snake battling both the Harrier and Vamp from his own perspective. Also, there's a picture of a Kodak call with Nustasha Roman and co. Sure, this updated version of the game is definitely what fans had already been wanted, to play as Solid Snake in the planned chapter. This sounded like a dream come true. But there was a catch. There's one thing that I want to mention. The article claims that this updated version of Metal Gear Solid 2 is exclusive to Microsoft's console, the Xbox. And PlayStation fans lost their minds. Well, keep in your mind, this was early 2000s. Console wars were ruthless. Hardcore fans constantly bashed rival gaming platform across various gaming forms. Sony versus Microsoft versus Nintendo was a bloodbath. So when this magazine claimed that the Xbox players were getting the superior version of Metal Gear Solid 2, plus it is exclusive in their platform, it was like throwing gasoline on a fire. That did not sit really well for the fans who bought a PlayStation 2 for the game. To them, Metal Gear Solid 2 was their system seller, and the backlash was insane. Some fans were furious, believing that Konami and Kojima had betrayed them by locking new content to another platform. There were even death threats sent to Kojima and Konami over this so-called betrayal. But here's the thing, it was all fake, as you might have noticed. This entire article, it was an April Fool joke orchestrated by the magazine. The editors at the Game Now magazine played on the rage and frustration surrounding Metal Gear Solid 2 and decided to poke fun at the entire situation by creating this fake article and make it as an April Fool joke. And many fans fell for it. Looking back, this prank is both a hilarious and a reminder of how big the Raiden's controversy was. Game Now magazine clearly understood the frustration of the Metal Gear fanbase and used it to craft a joke that fooled almost everyone. It is a great example of how gaming culture in the early 2000s reacted to one of the biggest bait-and-switch moments in gaming history. Of course, Raiden's reputation have evolved over the years. His transformation into a cyborg ninja in Metal Gear Solid 4 and later as the star of Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance turned him into a fan favorite. But back then, Raiden was a joke. He was public enemy number one. Games Now magazine prank might have been a joke, but it highlighted how just emotional Metal Gear Solid 2 was for the fans. Whether you loved or hated Raiden, you can't deny the game's impact on gaming history. And as for Games Now Metal Gear Solid X, well, let's just say it was the Solid Snake story we never got. But for one brief moment, it was fun to imagine if it were real. Thank you for watching, and happy April Fool's Day.
Yeah. Hey, I'm the main character. The hero of this game is me.